All right, my friends. So I just got my updated Social Security statement for 2018 numbers, and I went online to mysocialsecurity.gov and did all the stuff. They send you a text to make sure you're you, and you can download all the stuff you want, which is wonderful. Highly suggest you do that. Highly suggest you keep a PDF file as a record for your previous history too. So I'm going to show you what it looks like relative to 2018 and then 2017. Because remember, 2017, I was making bank, man, bank. And then 2018, it dropped like a brick in water, so I could go do this crazy stuff on YouTube, quit my crappy old job, and be independent. And so, how does that reflect on my Social Security benefit? Huh? Let's find out. So, 4 S's: smash, share, say your comments down below, and then of course subscribe. So let's dive right into this. This is fun. I mean, I love this stuff. All right, so we're going to come back to this indexing factors later here, but all right. So let's take a look. My previous statement in 2018. I was making $2,808 a month. They had me getting $2,808 a month. Now, because I took a big pay cut, I'm getting $2,235 a month. And notice that's at full retirement age, right? So this is 2019. So because I was making the max 2017, and I was only making the equivalent of $10 an hour in 2018, my payment fell by 2,808 minus 2,235, about almost $600 a month. I mean, that's real money. That's $7,200 a year right there. Actually, hey, real quick, I thought it was funny. Got Nancy Berryhill, who signed this in 2018, and now for signatures in 2019, and nobody, just our lovely Social Security Administration. Now, let's go on to see how Social Security actually anticipates our future benefit calculation. So let's go in here. You can get this off socialsecurity.gov, a sample statement, and we'll read down here that what we assumed. For 2018 and later, up to retirement age, we assumed you'll continue to work and make about the same as you did in 2016 or 17. We also included credits that you assume you earned last year and this year. Okay. Generally, the older you are and the closer you are to retirement, the more accurate the retirement estimates will be because they're based on a longer work history with fewer uncertainties such as earning fluctuations and future law changes. We encourage you to review your own stuff. Yes, I highly suggest you do. We can't provide your actual benefit amount until you apply for benefits, and that amount may differ from the estimates above because your earnings may increase or decrease, which they will. They will be adjusted with the cost of living once you hit your earliest year of eligibility 2 years before that. And we'll talk about that here in just a second. Your estimated benefits are based on current law. All right. That govern and the law will change. It's certainly going to. All right. So now that's what they're meaning. They're saying they're going to base your benefits based on your current, assuming that you're making the same kind of money you're making the previous year going forward. All right. Now let's talk about that because there's a couple of things you got to understand. First and foremost, indexing. You got to understand how indexing works because Social Security, your benefit is based on the indexing amount. Essentially, they're inflating your previous year's earnings going forward. So that way, what you made in 1987 won't be the dollar amount specific to your Social Security benefits. Will be inflated with a certain amount of money. So in this case, they look at your earliest year of eligibility. And I was born in 1970, so I know my earliest year of eligibility. And anyone born in 1960 will be 2032. So we type in 2032 there because that's when you turn 62 years old. And I'll put a link to the show notes for this. So if you're born in 1968, your ELY, your earliest year of eligibility will be in 2030. If you're born in, if you're 60, I don't even know what it would be. Just remember, whatever year it is, plus that of your year of birth, plus that by 62, and that'll be your earliest year of eligibility. And that will be the number you put into this calculator to get you a gauge of your indexing amount. So when we compute a person's benefit, we use a natural average wage index, AWI, to index that person's earnings. The factors shown below can be used to closely approximate indexed earnings for workers. Born in 1970, that'd be me, becoming eligible in 2032. However, I've asked for factors that have not been determined. We use 13 years of estimated wage growth to compute these factors. We use the intermediate assumptions for the average wage index in the 2018 Trustee Report for years after 2017. If you don't want estimates for future inflation in your factors, use the factors for 2019, the last eligibility year for all which factors have already been known. And we'll dive into that here in just a second. So basically what I did is I took all these numbers, 2032, I highlighted them, copied them, and I went to my trusty old spreadsheet, and I said, okay, here are my work years and actual earnings. As you can see, 1984, I made $156. I've done tons of different labor. That was probably when I was picking strawberries. Actually, I don't even remember. But in 1987, what was I doing in 87? I was working at the Chesapeake Crab House on George Ave, right outside D.C. I was working. I don't even remember what I was doing. 1988, I was also working at People's Drug Store there as well, up on Dale Boulevard in Silver Spring. In 1988, I got a promotion. They opened a Staples right next to us, and they needed an aisle manager, which paid a lot more than People's did. And you had to lift these freaking, these boxes of print paper, huge heavy boxes, 20, 25 pounds above you to keep your aisle clean. And that was tough. That was a tough job, but I made pretty good money back then for sure. 1989 was my first full year in the Army, and so on. All right. So in terms of just these numbers, you're like, man, 1989, I only made $7,854. Yeah, that's true. But if you factor in the earnings indexing, that was the equivalent of $33,459 in today's numbers. So as a young private E1 infantryman, $33,459 with food and healthcare paid for, that's not so bad. 1990, I made $10,000. The indexing factors, that's equivalent of $43,599. Now, what you'll see here is I'm using the indexing factors. This is what we're using here, assuming the trustees report of 2018 is true, because we don't know what the indexing factor is going to be going forward. So we're just using the cost of living adjustment. I think it's 2.6%. We don't know this is going to be spot on. We just don't know. So it's an average estimate. So I said, well, screw that. Let's just do this. Let's just take the average, the amount of money I made in the top 35 years, all right? Because remember, Social Security benefits are figured the top 35 years of indexed earnings, And I'm not even going to index them. I just want to get a gauge, a lower estimate of my benefit. So I say, okay, so in 2002, I made $49,000, 2003, and so on. Again, you get all these numbers right off the Social Security Administration. 2000, these years I made the max, 2011, 12, 13, all the way up until 2017. I was making bank, man. I was making the max. Remember, Social Security has a cap. Medicare does not. So when you factor in my Medicare, it's even better than that. But then 2018, it fell off like a brick in water because I was only doing this. I made equivalent of $10 an hour, a little bit more. All right, so 24,807. Now, what I've done is I said I'm going to make the same amount, but I'm going to adjust it each year with a 3% inflation. You can see that 3% inflation. And I'm going to factor in my own calculation of the actual dollar amount, all right, that I made without indexing it, other than giving myself a 3% inflation raise each and every year going forward. I'm not indexing. I'm just using my own cost of living adjustment for forward years. But I'm going to say in 2010, I had $101,488 of taxable Social Security earnings, and that's what I'm using, all right? So now what I'm doing is I'm taking my top 35 years, because that's what you do. You take your top 35 years of earnings, and you can see 29,000. My least is 24,807, which is what I made last year. That's the least earnings I made. Oh, actually, that's a little bit, not quite, because in 2001, I made a little bit more than that. But anyway, I'm still going to use this one right here. I'm fine with that, just to get to see how it works. So essentially, we're going to say we're going to take our top 25, and it's not quite close, but it won't matter. Literally, it will not matter hardly. I mean, we're talking pennies. I'm saying I'm going to take the top 35 years of earnings, which is from 2002, assuming I'm going to get a $10 an hour job until I'm 2036, when I'm 66 years old. Then in 2037, when I'm at my full retirement age, I'm like, I'm done. So what we do is we add all these numbers up, and we get our indexed, or no, this is not even indexed, actually. This will be our total wages that we've made through Social Security. This will not be indexed. This is our total wages that we pay tax on in real numbers. And we divide that by 420, and we get a AIME of $4,805. That's not even, I don't want to say, is not your index monthly earnings. It's your average monthly earnings. We're not indexing it. I'll show you what happens here in just a second when we index them. So hang in there for a second. I know it's confusing, but it's important to understand. All right, so we know how AIME works. We're taking the first 926 of our average index monthly earnings. We times that by 0.9, which gives us $833 a month. Anything above that, up until 5,583, which I'm well short of. So we take 4,805, subtract 926. The remainder is $3,879. We times that by 0.32 because that's a second bend point. And our monthly benefit at our full retirement age, according to just the numbers we've already made and been taxed on Social Security, is $2,074. That'll be our primary insurance amount. A lot of assumptions here. A, that I'm going to make the same amount as I made in 2018, adjusted with a 3% inflation. A lot of assumptions in there. That's it. Nothing changes. All right. So now, let's say we don't make anything. We're going to say we don't make anything, and we're going to have zeros for the rest. We're just, I don't know, my wife is being the breadwinner. I'm not making anything. Well, now we got to take all these numbers out because we still have, we have how many years we got? 1980. Yeah, that'll be less than 35. All right, so we got to take all these numbers out because we still take the top 35. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to do we're going to hit, bear with just a second. We're going to hit boink, and we're going to sum D21. Nope, we're going to sum, I think it's D3. D3, yep, we're going to sum D3. Oops, D3. All right, so now let's see what it looks like. And now, all right, so basically we said we're never working again. We're never going to work again. And so we know at the end of the day, just based on all the income I've made and paid tax on for Social Security, my benefit without being adjusted for inflation, no indexing or anything, is $1,788 because my total wage earnings is $1.64 million. That's literally what I've already made in my earnings according to Social Security. And it looks pretty good to me. I mean, I looked at it and said, yeah, that makes sense. So I haven't indexed these at all. I'm just using the actual dollars I've made that Social Security is taking tax on. And I said, I got 1.642 million. So without even being indexed, I know my average index monthly earnings, again, scratch the index. I know my average monthly earnings, probably the better way to say it, is 3,911, which I know for a fact. The bottom amount I will get of Social Security is $1,788 without even being an index. It's just not. So I know as we see here today, without earning another dollar, I will have a minimum benefit of Social Security of $1,788. In today's numbers, again, that hasn't been indexed. But now we're going to index them, all right? And we're going to index them, and we're going to say we don't make any more money. Again, we're just taking our top 35 years. We're indexing according to the index calculator for being born in 1970. And in 2005, I made $53,000, which when you factor in today's indexing is equivalent to $123,000. Now, will that be the case going forward? We don't know what the indexing is going to be going forward. So it's an assumption here. So this right here is the low, 1788. I'm going to share with you what the high is going to be. If I make no more money, none whatsoever. So remember, my first year in the infantry, $7,854 under today's indexing based on me as a 2019, but assuming that is my earliest year of eligibility is 2032, that will be worth $33,000 in 2032 when the indexing stops, or actually it'll be 2030 when the indexing stops. They start using the cost of living adjustment. A lot going on there, I know, but I'm just going to share with you the high end. So if we assume the indexing factors, and we index them according to what the Social Security Administration is estimating, it won't be how much I made, 1.642 million of Social Security earnings. With indexing, it'll be 3.538 index earnings. Does that make sense? So in that case, my benefit will be $2,750 a month, not $1,788. Now, again, this is a lot going on there. You got to factor in inflation. You got to factor in indexing. You got to factor if I make no more money, all this stuff. What I'm just trying to share with you. At the end of the day, it's $2,750 in future earnings with indexing, or $1,788 in today's numbers with no indexing. That's the two, what's the frames, if you will, the brackets. $2,750 1788 with no more earnings at all. I haven't made any more money. I have indexed one. I have not indexed the other. That's the two numbers we're looking at. It's basically $1,000 a month difference. But the issue is we know for a fact this won't be right because they are going to be indexed. We know that for a fact that these numbers are not going to be what I make my Social Security based on. That's why I'm giving you the worst case scenario, which is simply not even valid because we know these numbers will be indexed and they haven't been indexed yet. Now, we don't know if these numbers will be as indexed what I'm saying here. We don't know. So I'm using a lot of assumptions here that we don't know. But even that is a pretty safe assumption to think your benefit will be between $1,800 and $2,700 and $2,800 a month without ever working again. I'm pretty comfortable with that. Now, here's what I think actually is reality will be a little bit more attributed to today because I can't take Social Security anyway. But today, so remember, our brackets are $1,800 a month, $2,800 a month. And that's what based on 2032 indexing, based on no indexing. And here's me based on indexing as if I was to hit my earliest year eligibility today. And this is almost spot on to what Social Security is telling me. So here we're taking our top 35 years, again, from 1984 to 2018. Actually, how many years? 2018. 2018 minus 1984. That's 34 years. And we're assuming we're never working again ever. So that's 34 years. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to index these according to the indexing tables today. This is set in stone, the indexing tables today. So again, $3,000 in 1988 is the equivalent of $8,000 today. We know that for a fact. $7,000 in 1989 is equivalent to $19,000 in indexing numbers today. We know that for a fact. And we scroll on down, we index things. So now we get a total indexed earnings is $2.08 million because it's been indexed with the average wage index, essentially cost of living adjustment, inflation. That what I say, 2.08. So 2.08 million is what we've made in indexing earnings, which is 500,000 more of what we would have if we didn't index them, and significantly lower than what we would have made if we indexed it based on my indexing years. All right. So that's just, so I like this one because it says this is what we're going to use for the time being, which is 2.08 million. We divide that by 420 because there's 35 years in your average index monthly earnings to figure out your average index monthly earnings. And your times there's 12 months in each year if you didn't know that. So you take 35 times 12, that's your denominator, numerator, whatever the thing is on the bottom. You divide the thing on top, 2 million, by the thing on bottom of 420. And that gives me an AIME in today's numbers of $4,953, which is pretty doggone close to my pre-IA, my primary insurance amount of what Social Security is saying I'm going to get. And Social Security is saying I'm going to get 2,235. I'm saying it's about 2,325. It's off by $80 or so. And that's fine. I'm very comfortable with that because we just don't know. And that's without working ever again. Without working ever again, that's going to be my benefit I hate to even say the limit because things can change. But I know sitting here today, if I never work again with indexed earnings, I'll have let's say $2,300. All right. Now I am going to work. I'm working now. I mean, so we know that this benefit does assume that you're going to work at the rate you worked the previous year of $10 an hour, and my benefit will be 2,235. I'm very comfortable using these numbers because I say, okay, so I don't know I'm 48 years old for heaven's sake. I don't know what my benefit's going to be, no idea, but I'm comfortable in assuming it's going to be no less than $2,200 a month, even if I don't work again, because I did this here when I took the indexing on this side, and my benefit was significantly higher than $2,200 a month. When it was indexed, it's $2,750 a month. Now, again, will that buy me the same amount that I can spend today? Probably not, because you got to index the other things too, the cost of food going up and all that. But I know, as we sit here today, that my benefit in today's numbers is going to be about $2,200 to $2,300 a month. Working at $10 an hour, not working at $10 an hour. It's just no definitive way you'll know what your Social Security benefit is. But you can quickly tell by simply using, this is what makes it great. Just take your Social Security numbers, your wages you've made, use the most recent indexing amount, which is from 2019, add them all up, All right. Now that's your total index wage earnings, your 2.08 million, divide by 420, and you know for a fact what your benefit's going to be. It might not be spot on to what Social Security is, but Social Security says they don't know. They're using estimates too, and their estimates are based on some assumptions that of your income. They're based on some assumptions of the growth. They don't know any more than you, but we know for a fact. If your AIME is $4,953, your benefit is going to be $2,323. Let's just say $2,300 for simplicity. So I know right now I've made enough to qualify for an average index monthly earnings of $4,953, which gives me a primary insurance amount of $2,323 without working anymore. How do I know that? Because that is what my benefit is right there. Indexed total benefits is 2.08 million. Non-index total benefits, the worst case scenario is 1.648. That's literally what I made. So if we're not even indexing that with Social Security, with inflation, I know for a fact my benefit will be $1,788 without working ever again. Without working again, I know for a fact it's going to be $1,788. If I work at my $10 an hour job, which I find fulfillment out of because there's no stress, my benefit will be $2,074 a month. Does that make sense? So everything I've earned up to this point, I know for a fact my benefit will be between $2,100 and $2,300, even if I don't make much money. I know that. Now, if I make a lot of money, going back to what Social Security said initially, my benefit will be $2,808 a month. I mean, that's a lot of money more than I'm making now, but is it worth it for me to sit in that commute an hour and a half each way for an extra $500 a month? No, it's just not. I'm sorry. It's not. Is it worth it to do some crap little job where you're being stressed by stupid bosses? And if my last boss, my man DJ, not talking about you, but no, it's not. It's just not worth it. In my opinion, it might be to you. I don't know. But for $6,000-7,000 a year to sell your soul for that crappy old job for another 15 years? No way, man. That's why look, you do what you got to do for sure, but I will absolutely sacrifice $500 a month in Social Security benefit to avoid the commute, to avoid the crappy old job, to avoid the stress without question. Now, will you? That's up to you. For me, I'm very comfortable with it. So, all right, moral of the story. Go to socialsecurity.com, download your PDFs each and every year, keep a record of them, maybe create your own spreadsheets on how it works, their average index monthly earnings, your total index earnings. Do all that stuff for sure, but definitely download your Social Security statement each and every year and keep a file of it so you can refer back to that and just say, hey, something happened in 2023 is way off from 2022. Why? And then you can see why that would be. So hope this helps. Subscribe, smash, share, and comment down below, and we'll see you next time. Thanks now.